Good afternoon, Sakelanders. How are you? I'd like to chat briefly about this state of disaster that is being mooted by the ANC, and which was as an intention or an ambition announced by the president following the ANC Lekgotla of last week, today being Thursday, the 9th of February. So it was the Lekgotla happened over the last few days of January, 29th, 30th, 31st, roughly. It ended at the beginning of last week, on Monday or Tuesday of last week, if I remember correctly. It doesn't really matter. The point is that the president said that there was broad agreement within the ANC that a state of disaster needs to be declared over the energy crisis. Now, the rationale, as later expounded upon by Professor Mark Swilling of the University of Stellenbosch, who is also a member of the National Planning Council. In other words, he's part of a certain governmental structure, is to be able to expedite repairs at Eskom by circumventing the normal procurement procedures. So that's the answer that the socialist intellectual, or the explanation that the socialist intellectual would give you. Now, you and I both know that there is nothing, that there is no power that the African National Congress has ever had that it has not misused. So, on a prima facie level, certainly this cannot end well, regardless of what this professor says. But I put it to you that there is an even deeper, greater threat, that there is something here that we shouldn't miss. Do you remember me making videos in 2020 talking about how the ANC, by the way, there's an article that I've got up here, it's a good thing to, how the ANC, in about mid-2020, early July, late June, spoke about how it wanted to implement a nationwide command council system. Command council system. In other words, that just like the National Coronavirus Command Council was implementing the state of disaster for the COVID-19, so too ministers and other senior ANC people were then being deployed to various districts and municipalities and provinces and so on across South Africa for the implementation of a general nationwide command council system. And I said to you at the time that it was a Soviet system, that it was by definition, by very definition, and you can go and look this up, Soviet means, the Soviet is the Russian word for a village council. And therefore, when Bolshevism, Bolshevist Marxism succeeded in taking over Russia, in order to legitimize it more greatly, they called it the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Not just socialist republics, but socialist republics in which even the village council level of democracy is the nature of our democracy. This enormous democracy is Soviet in nature. It is a democracy of the most democratic sort, of the sort of democracy that you find in the lowest, in the smallest place, the village council. It's not a top-down democracy. It's not where power is centered in an emperor many thousands of miles away, or a king many hundreds of miles away, or a baron, or a noble, or even a government. It's no. This is Soviet in nature. They use that well-known, well-understood Russian word, the Soviet, the village council. The most neighborhood of democracies. And I warned you also that at around that time there had been reports of, or there were reports of the ANC proposing that expropriation without compensation should be administered and executed at local level. In other words, if a farm was to be expropriated here near Van der Kloof, the decision would be taken by our mayor, or perhaps by the what's he called, the manager, the guy who's literally never had a real job, but who recently spent, according to the bragging of his girlfriend, 91,000 rand on her daughter's first birthday party. Not his wife's children or child, his sideline items daughter. That is the level at which farms would be selected and chosen and expropriated and passed on. So what is my point? I think that we're going to find over the next roughly a year and a half, I think we're going to discover that the state of disaster that the ANC is proposing for Eskom, which the Prof claims is just about expediting processes, procurement processes, and the command council system, and they called it the district champions. They were deploying district champions for the command council system, the MPs and senior ANC people to whom I alluded earlier. The state of disaster, the command council system with their district champions, and the execution of expropriation without compensation and other, I suspect, other laws are going to go hand in hand. I'm forewarning you that I have a very, very strong feeling that there is a connection between the three. And that's all. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. And if you'd like to help us in our work, please donate to us. Please visit suidlanders.org, not .co.za, suidlanders.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page. There are a number of very user-friendly vectors, payment channels, that you can use there to make a donation to assist us to keep going with our work. All right, then, everybody, goodbye and God bless you. Cheerio.